Mississippi Live weather at 6.
Well, good evening and welcome back to Mississippi Live weather at 6. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. I'm meteorologist Caleb Edelblue, and I hope you got your dates and plans all figured out and practically done with, because we're going to be talking about a soggy end to our Valentine's Day tonight and heading into Sunday. It's going to be a busy broadcast, so let's get right into it so I can make sure y'all are best prepared for the next few hours. So like I just mentioned, we have a soggy into Valentine's Day as this low pressure system that we're going to be talking about all broadcast long. It's going to bring those rain chances, some a little bit heavier than others. Could hear some rumbles of thunder, but thankfully that severe weather risk trending in the right direction, not really going to affect us as we get ready for the overnight period ahead. We're also going to be talking about drier and more spring-like weather returning here to North Mississippi. We've enjoyed the weather this past work week. Thankfully, we're going to get a repeat of that and see even warmer conditions next work week. We could even be talking about some record-breaking temps for your Wednesday and Thursday. So definitely keep tabs on that all week long as we get ready for it. So still beautiful weather on the way. Just got to get through those stormy conditions tonight. But by the end of the broadcast, we're also going to be tracking out those wind and impactful storms as we talk about those wind gusts, but also maybe some tornado safety, as this is still severe weather preparedness week. I want to make sure y'all are best prepared for everything North Mississippi has to throw to us. So let's start off right now with those storm threats across our area. Right now, still trending in the right direction. Level 1 risk as far as that severe weather and tornadoes mainly stays to our south. So that SPC graphic that we keep showing you with those severe weather risks, it originally clipped some of North Mississippi, especially Noxubee County for tomorrow, but that is trending in the right direction. None of our viewing area is in those warning areas, so definitely good news. But the main threat tonight is just going to be those wind gusts as they blow on through North Mississippi, could knock over some limbs and down trees that are still affected by the ice storm that we had a few weeks ago. So still having effect on us today. That's why we want to keep kind of considering that as we get ready for the overnight period. But thankfully, not really talking about tornadoes, even large hailstones. Maybe you could see a few pebbles, but expecting just wind gusts to kind of move on through North Mississippi. Just going to be a rainy night period later on tonight, but could still talk about some flooding, especially with how heavy these downpours could be, especially with how saturated our ground has already become due to that ice storm and those rain changes since then. Ground's still pretty saturated and not used to that rainfall making its way through, so something else to consider. But taking a look at our severe weather risk, notice that green not really affecting us here in North Mississippi. We can see where that level 2, a slight risk is basically in eastern Texas, Louisiana, and clipping southern Mississippi just south of Jackson, and then that level 1 risk surrounding that level 2 as well. But for us here in North Mississippi for our Saturday, not really affecting us. That risk still down south as compared to our viewing area. We can even zoom in just a little bit to notice that not really affecting any of us here in our viewing area, but for those down in Jackson, Meridian, Hattiesburg, even Baton Rouge, Alexandria, and Lake Charles, those are going to be the areas to already start seeing those effects, but especially into the overnight period later on tonight. Now let's take a look at the first 12 as we talk about those soggy conditions. But take a look at this. We're talking about 30% chances by 7 o'clock as some more isolated showers make their way through, but a noticeable drop by 10 o'clock. That's due to that warm front that's bringing those rain chances tonight and this evening already moving on out, providing that lift for those showers. And we kind of see just a dry pocket of air thinking, oh, those rain chances were bad. They already moved on out. It's kind of the first wave of showers moving on through before that cold front moves on through. Later on in the overnight period, upper 50s by 1 o'clock with those rain chances already starting to increase, especially by 4 o'clock, going up into the 60s for your chances, mid 50s for your temperatures, and pretty much starting off your Sunday morning with that as well. Going to be a soggy start to the day, so plan accordingly as you get ready for your Sunday morning church commute later. But here we go with those rain chances already starting to affect us at 30%. Bothering us as we wrap up our Valentine's Day plans or dates across North Mississippi this evening. Notice those rain changes already moving on through, and that's due to that warm front, kind of providing those lift for those showers moving on through North Mississippi this evening. Not tracking anything severe, just some pesky showers that can annoy any plans. Thankfully, not really affecting those out there in Starkville. I know the Bulldogs are having a doubleheader right now, and I've been tracking the stats, especially if y'all were coming to tune in. The Bulldogs are up 7-5 right now against Hofstra, trying to look to get the sweep as they start off their opening weekend. But most of North Mississippi, especially along Highway 45, staying dry. It's the further west you go, you're going to see those rain chances first as that warm front continues to bother us as we get ready for the overnight period ahead. But we can take a visual of that right here with our Mama Justice Doppler radar showing that low pressure system moving on closer towards North Mississippi. You can already see those heavier showers and warnings, especially affecting those out there in Houston and the western portions of Texas. But Notice how far south it is. Not really affecting us here in North Mississippi. That warm front still providing those rain showers for us. Not talking about anything severe. That still stays down south in western Texas and are about to go into Louisiana later on in the next few hours. But for us here in North Mississippi, we're still looking good as we get ready for the overnight period ahead. So let's track this out here on Futurecast. We can still see that warm front moving on through North Mississippi, responsible for those showers. But as we continue into the overnight period and getting ready for our Sunday morning hours, wanted to pause it really quick, just show how there was that dry pocket and those rain chances start to increase yet again by midnight. That low pressure system is going to continue getting closer and closer to North Mississippi, and what's responsible for some gusty conditions as well. But notice all those colorful reds, oranges, and yellows, what we don't really want to see, sticking a lot further south, especially affecting those out there in Jackson, Baton Rouge, New Iberia, Fayette as well. So not really affecting us here in North Mississippi. It will start to eventually kind of move and clip the southern portions of our state throughout the overnight period. But for us here in our viewing area, we're seeing a whole lot more green than yellows or reds. So definitely a good trend in the right direction, but could still see some heavier showers as well. Not ruling out maybe some rumbles of thunder that you could wake up to, but we are not tracking pretty much a severe weather threat here in North Mississippi. That continues to stay down south. Want to continue reminding you guys about that, especially with us seeing this as an overnight period. Don't want y'all to stress overnight as we try to drift off to sleep. But still, waking up for our Sunday morning church commute could still see those soggy showers. Instead of the northwestern portion seeing those rain chances first, it's now the southeastern portion, especially the Golden Triangle region, is starting to see some heavier showers as you start off your Sunday morning. And they're pretty much going to be those pesky showers that stick with us through the rest of your day. So not going to be a beautiful way to end this weekend, but definitely going to be a lazy indoor day. Used to love those growing up, so definitely take advantage of it before your workday starts off on Monday. But take a look at the next 24. We can see those rain chances very prominent on the front end of your Sunday, before drying off on the back half. 56 degrees by the time you start off your Sunday morning. Already a mild start due to how much moisture is in our atmosphere. 40% chance of rain as that cold front continues moving on out of our area, but continuing to drop, especially by 9 o'clock, 20%, continuing into lunchtime with those pesky showers, then eventually finally fading on out into the afternoon hours. Right now around 10% with the low 60s in the forecast for your afternoon. Some of us reaching mid 60s. Another beautiful day as long as you're fine with those overcast skies, especially continuing on into your evening hours with pretty much just cloudy conditions dropping into the low 50s for your Sunday night. Now, of course, we're going to continue breaking down those storm chances overnight into your Sunday morning, but also what the rest of your work week looks like, and of course, tracking out those storm chances and wind gusts later on tonight. All that's coming up after this break.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham, and Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
Look at Wanda, ready to rock her big presentation. But first, lunch. Sweet Pepper's Deli. Delicious, celebratory, but is it quick? The Cobb salad. Tender oven roasted chicken, topped with cheese. Prepared, plated, and served? In 6 minutes? Is this for real? Well, of course. Well done, Wanda. Sweet Pepper's Deli. Yes, ma'am. Life is sweet.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Caleb Edelblut.
Well, thanks for sticking here with us for Mississippi Live Weather at 6. Let's take a look at your evening planner as what will be pretty eventful evening as far as rainfall goes. Later on tonight, we're starting off with temperatures around 60 degrees by 8 o'clock, 30% chance of rain as we've already seen those rain showers start sweeping across North Mississippi, dropping just a little bit by 11 o'clock due to that warm front already moving on through North Mississippi, making us think that we're staying dry for the rest of the night, but that's not really the main event. A cold front will move on through later on tonight, bringing the chance for some rumbles of thunder. Thankfully, not tracking out anything severe with this cold front. Just going to be very windy, very heavy showers, and a few rumbles of thunder overnight, but not expecting anything intense. Upper 50s later on into those AM hours. Now, that severe weather risk, like I keep mentioning, it's trending in the right direction. Some of us originally were included in North Mississippi in that level 1 risk. That is pushing further south into the southern portions of our state in the Magnolia State. And then level 2 risk clipping the southern portions of Mississippi, even into Louisiana and western Texas for our Saturday. Thankfully, not really affecting us here in North Mississippi. Same thing goes for that tornado risk, because I know a lot of us are really interested and wanting to know if that will affect us here in North Mississippi. Same story goes for us here in North Mississippi. Not seeing any of those colors start to creep into our area. That risk is still staying further down south into pretty much the other half of our state, and especially into Louisiana and western Texas. Same thing for that damaging wind risk, and especially for that hail as well. Not really affecting any of those down there on the coast. That is pretty much just a western Texas exclusive that's already experienced some of that as well. But thank you to True Shield Roofing for sponsoring this graphic, as it's going to be that time of the year as we get closer and closer towards severe weather season later on today. But Futurecast showing that warm front moving across North Mississippi and what's responsible for those rain showers across our viewing area. But those rain showers starting to affect the most northwestern portion of our viewing area, moving on through North Mississippi to where we can try to start seeing a dry pocket affect us. Not really seeing many of those rain chances by that 10 o'clock hour, but those heavier showers still pretty much across the Mississippi River out there into Arkansas, affecting those across the Mississippi River, and then we'll eventually move on through later on tonight, especially into those AM hours, pretty much midnight and on. Going to see a soggy forecast for the rest of the night. Some heavier showers, but as you can see here, not tracking anything too intense. Not seeing much of those reds and those oranges move on through. We'll see them later on tonight as we're going to continue playing this graphic as that low pressure system begins to pretty much just cover North Mississippi, move on through. Some of those heavier showers out there in the Golden Triangle region could wake up to a rumble of thunder or two, but still not tracking anything intense. Let me actually remove this L. That way we don't cover up any showers tonight. Let's see if I can press that. If it'll let me. Boom. There we go. Okay. Let's do that right quick, because we all know that low pressure, warm front, cold front, we've been talking about that all week long pretty much, kind of moving on through North Mississippi. So let's get back to where we were. That warm front moving on through North Mississippi, providing us with those rain showers even by 10 o'clock, still seeing drier conditions across North Mississippi with that dry pocket, but midnight and on, going to be a soggier forecast for the rest of our state here in North Mississippi. Those heavier showers starting to affect those in the Golden Triangle region, maybe around 2 to 3 o'clock later on tonight. Could wake up to some rumbles of thunder, but again, not tracking anything super intense, but starting to see those colors continue to move on through. You can definitely tell where that low pressure system was with that counterclockwise spin. Could still see some gusty conditions pretty much almost all day out there in the Delta, as you're going to see later on in this broadcast, but going to be a soggy start to our Sunday as those rain changes continue moving on through North Mississippi and pretty much just linger around as we continue to wrap up our weekend tomorrow. Now those low temperatures for our Sunday, way above average, and definitely a mild start to the day just due to how much moisture is in our atmosphere. Pretty much mid-50s all across North Mississippi, 56 in Columbus and Starkville in the Golden Triangle region, 53 Boonville, Oxford, 57, out there in Clarksdale, and 59 in Greenville. So already going to be a warm start to the day, but definitely going to be a soggy one as well. So of course, with tomorrow morning being Sunday morning, that church planner, going to be a soggy start to the day, 30% chance of rainfall in the mid-50s during that 7 o'clock hour. Even by the time you're getting out of church, going to still kind of bump into those showers on your way home and even into your favorite restaurant after church. But thankfully, drier and pretty much overcast conditions later on tomorrow evening. So a perfect movie day, indoor lazy day, a post-Sunday nap. That will be the perfect day to do so. I've always loved those gray overcast skies growing up as a kid, still do. So this will be a good day tomorrow to wrap up and enjoy the weekend before you start off the work week. So let's talk about that severe weather risk for your Sunday. We've already talked about Saturday. This is now for your Sunday tomorrow, showing that green that originally clipped the most southeastern portions of our viewing area, not really bothering us anymore. That severe weather risk trending in the right direction. That's away from us here in North Mississippi. More level 1 risk as compared to level 2, which is good news, especially going into the tornado risk. Notice how I switched the graphic. None of that changed. Not affecting us here in North Mississippi, so don't have to really worry about some overnight tornadoes moving on through North Mississippi. That is not the cold front we are tracking tonight. This is just some heavier showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder. That's about it. Damaging wind risk, even not really making its way into North Mississippi. We're still tracking some gusts, but that could affect some limbs and across North Mississippi, but thankfully not really seeing that level extend into North Mississippi either. Same thing goes for that large hail risk that is staying on out of North Mississippi as well. Here we go with that big fat low pressure system trying to be the focus point of this show, which is technically it is, as we're talking about what it's causing across North Mississippi. That's moving on through our area Sunday morning, still seeing those showers behind it, and that wind kind of wrapping around into the delta could cause some wind gusts as you go throughout your morning hours tomorrow, but still seeing those showers kind of affect us out there in the Golden Triangle region, even out into the southern portions of Alabama as well. Just south of Tuscaloosa, could still see some rumbles of thunder as you start off your Sunday morning and even towards lunchtime. But those showers already moving on out of North Mississippi, just lingering pesky showers as you go and get ready for your Sunday afternoon. Moving on through by 4 or 5 o'clock, and then by the time we reach Sunday dinner time around 6, we're seeing drier conditions, but definitely cloudy conditions as you wrap up your Sunday afternoon and evening, getting ready for the work week. So definitely drier conditions on the way. Just got to get through the next almost 24-hour period until we can start enjoying them. But those high temperatures tomorrow, pretty much mid-60s across North Mississippi. Even talk about some low 60s. 60 out there in Holly Springs, Senatobia, Tunica, upper 50s, 59 out there in South Haven. But most of us pretty much in the mid-60s, 65 in Tupelo, Bruce, Grenada, 66 Eupora, and 67 out there in Starkville. Those feels like values doing pretty well matching up, but with how rainy it's going to be, we're going to feel just a little bit cooler than those temperatures outside. But I have a good feeling most of us will be staying indoors tomorrow. Not really going to affect us, but hey, it's not going to be blistering hot, blistering cold tomorrow. So still beautiful day, just going to be a rainy and soggy one as you wrap up your weekend tomorrow. Now, Futurecast is going to show those cloudy conditions during that 6 o'clock hour tomorrow, but tracking this into the rest of your evening, that northerly wind will kind of blow out that cloud cover as we go throughout the overnight period. Cloud cover starting to build back in just a little bit, but there we go. With that next weather story, that high pressure system will eventually move on through North Mississippi, and that's what's allowing us to stay dry, pretty much just eliminating any cloud cover as you go about your day. Going to be a sunny and clear blue sky above you, so definitely a beautiful day for your Monday. More spring-like conditions returning. We're staying dry pretty much all day long as we track that out into your Sunday evening by 6:30. Still seeing that wind kind of return back towards that southerly motion, allowing us to see those temperatures continue to rise into the rest of your work week, and that trend continuing into your Monday evening and eventually your Tuesday early morning hours as well by 1 o'clock then. So beautiful conditions are on the way. Just got to get through this soggy period first before we can enjoy them. So those high temperatures for your Monday, a little bit warmer, pretty much upper 60s, even some low 70s across North Mississippi. 70 in Vernon and Columbus, 71 Eupora and Kosciuszko, but 69 Water Valley, 66 Holly Springs, and 64 out there in Clarksdale and Cleveland. Those feels like values, I'll get out of the way. Notice not many of those have changed. Those temperatures and feels like values going to do a lot better matching up. So beautiful forecast for your Monday. I know Mondays aren't really the best day out of the work week as we have to go back to all those responsibilities, but hey, the good trend is that we're enjoying quite a beautiful start to the past few work weeks here in North Mississippi. We can see that right here on the 7-day forecast. Still going to be a soggy Sunday as we head into the overnight hours with some chances of some thunderstorms, rumbles of thunder, moving on through North Mississippi. Pretty much mid-60s for your highs, warming on up towards the upper 60s for your Monday with sunny and clear skies above. Then pretty much for the rest of the work week, we're talking about dry conditions and maybe some cloud cover moving in and out of our area with mostly cloudy conditions for your Wednesday, transitioning back to partly cloudy Thursday. Then those rain changes try to come back for your Friday later on in your work week, but a beautiful weekend forecast is in store for your Saturday with highs around 67 degrees and partly cloudy conditions above. So fingers crossed that can continue to verify as we get closer, but still got a full work week to go through, and of course the soggy forecast tonight. But don't go anywhere. We're going to be talking about that tornado safety rules and kind of where you want to be during severe weather risk as we continue prepping y'all for severe weather season as it gets closer to North Mississippi, and also tracking those wind gusts as that cold front will move on through North Mississippi, providing us the most impactful severe risk as we go throughout this overnight hours. All that's coming up right after this break.
What I thought was a complete life was nowhere near complete, but it is now.
Learn about adopting a teen at adoptuskids.org.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Well, good evening, and thanks for sticking with us here for Mississippi Live Weather at 6. Today, for our severe weather preparedness week, we're talking about kind of tornadoes and where you want to be during that weather. Thankfully, we are not talking about that tonight. We're not expecting any of that severe weather risk across North Mississippi, but still useful information to know as we get closer towards that March, April time of the year as we start seeing more and more tornadoes into North Mississippi. So these are tornado shelter options and kind of the logistics and broad areas of where you want to be during these events. For those unsafe areas, pretty much those mobile homes, large open rooms, and vehicles underneath a bypass, those are not the best options. Could mobile homes still survive some tornadoes moving on through? Absolutely, but if we're going through high impactful and historic tornadoes, you don't really want to be in any of these areas across North Mississippi. You'd rather be kind of in an interior room of a well-constructed home or building, or even a tornado shelter. That is the most safe place to be across North Mississippi. They're built to withstand a tornado moving across North Mississippi. So for those nights that we have those risks of tornadoes moving on through North Mississippi, make sure you have your plan in place and definitely your locations on how to get there as well, because we're going to start seeing that move on through North Mississippi later on into the year, and definitely want to make sure you are best prepared. We even showed you a visualization of kind of what to expect and what you want to be during a tornado. Now, for here in North Mississippi, we definitely don't have basements across our state just due to the geology and clay not really allowing us to build many basements. But for the lucky reason, if you do have a basement, that is the best place to be during a tornado, especially moving on through your area. But most of us, of course, don't have a basement. So the best spot to be is the most interior spot inside your house. Get away from windows or large open rooms. This is kind of the best visualization of showing even a tiny room is the best spot. You're away from windows. You're away from the exterior wall outside where a tornado could start knocking things into the house. That is the best place to be as you get ready for some severe weather impacts. Again, want to harp that we're not really expecting that tonight. Just want to kind of keep y'all informed and kind of what to expect as we get ready for severe weather season. Now let's track those future wind gusts later on tonight, as this is what's going on later tonight and what we can expect. And those are going to be some windy conditions into the overnight period. Could hear that wind howling outside, maybe a rumble of thunder or two. But most of us pretty much in the low 20s all across North Mississippi as that wind continues to blow out of the southeasterly direction. But the Delta, this is going to be the main area to focus on pretty much all night tonight and even in tomorrow, where you're going to see the heaviest wind gusts start to affect you. This is around 1 o'clock Sunday morning as that line continues to move on through North Mississippi. And you can definitely tell where that low pressure system will be, as you can almost see that clockwise spin affecting those out there just on the western side of Arkansas, on the western side of the Mississippi River, eastern part of Arkansas. But that's going to continue moving on through North Mississippi, providing some heavier wind gusts across our area all night tonight. This is now into your Sunday morning hours, pretty much in the mid-20s, especially out there in Lee County, 26 out there in Tupelo, 22 Boonville, 19 out there in Corinth. But still, those reds, kind of oranges popping up, pretty much just sticking around the southern portions of the Delta. Going to be a windy start to your Sunday morning and pretty much continuing into your mid-morning hours by 10 o'clock. That low pressure system continuing to move on through North Mississippi. You can still definitely clearly see that spin of that wind moving on through North Mississippi. Even some heavier wind gusts going to start making its way into the southern portions of our viewing area across North Mississippi out there in Starkville, 24 in Starkville, 28 in Macon, 29 out there in Louisville, so almost in the low 30s, but we can still see those out there in the Delta, 30 out there in Belzona, 26 Greenwood, and 29 out there in Cleveland. So still seeing windy conditions pretty much throughout the start of your Sunday, but even into the afternoon, evening hours. We're continuing to track that out here. 29 still out there in Cleveland, 28 Belzona, 29 Louisville, moving on through. Even some higher patches along Highway 45 on your way to Tupelo throughout the day, especially what I will be driving on later on tomorrow afternoon, but still seeing those windy conditions by 1:30 tomorrow, even into those afternoon hours, mid-20s all across North Mississippi. So main story is going to be a breezy day tomorrow. Gusty conditions overnight could knock over some limbs still affected by the ice storm, but thankfully this is pretty much all we're tracking for that severe weather risk. We're not talking about hail, not talking about tornadoes, so we're only talking about wind gusts pretty much in the mid-20s, low 30s. That is some good news as we get ready for the overnight period ahead. We'll definitely continue tracking that out as we get ready for for the 10 o'clock later on tonight. So of course, here's the QR codes for our Mississippi Live weather app for both the iOS and Android version. We appreciate all the support you have given us, but also all the feedback as well, because that app is very important to us and we want to make sure it is exclusive and as best as it can be for you guys out there, especially keeping it free. Want to make sure it is a top app, especially with it being free. So making sure that it is as top notch as it can be for all of you guys out there in North Mississippi or wherever you are, as it will give you the weather and latest happening all across our country. But we'll be live later on tonight at 10 to continue talking about that cold front moving on through North Mississippi later on tonight. And of course, with any updates, with any model runs, I actually just got an update from my Mississippi Live weather app saying rain is approaching work. So I'll have to go outside, snap a picture of that rain starting to affect us here in Lee County outside here in Tupelo. But I hope all of y'all have had a fantastic Valentine's Day. Continue to do so this evening. Wrap up those plans and enjoy y'all's night at home. I'll see y'all back here in the Room to Room Weather Center at 10.
I felt accomplished after I got my diploma. Made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.